in the world where I do all these different things, where I, make music under my own name, I make music with my sister, I make music with other artists, and then I score TV and film. To me, it's all in service of the project at hand, if that makes sense. To me, the goal is that I think Disclaimer is an amazing show. I think the acting in it is incredible, the cinematography, the directing, the writing. I want to participate in this experience that I'm a fan of. And hopefully, you love the show, and whether you are conscious of loving the music or not, hopefully it feels like a perfect marriage for that show.
We talked to FINNEAS about composing music for new Apple TV Plus show Disclaimer. And yes, he even did it while working on an album with his sister Billie. We got the details with Billboard News.
Destiny doesn't knock on any door. It crashes in without permission and grabs you mercilessly by your soul.
You've been involved in so many amazing film projects, Oscar winning, from James Bond to Barbie. Why was it time for television?
I think the short answer to that is that Alfonso, who's a person I've known for a while and been an admirer of and a fan of for even longer, asked me to be involved in something, and I would have done whatever he asked me to do. I think he's such a genius, and it was such an honor to get to work with him. And then I was sent these scripts for this series that he was making, and I thought the scripts were incredible, and I was so excited to do it. I'm obviously a lover of television series. The series that come to mind in the last several years, miniseries specifically, maybe White Lotus is a favorite of mine. The first season of Big Little Lies is a favorite of mine. Yeah, all right, I'm getting the 2 thumbs up from you. I appreciate it. So
those
I think
are good ones. I'm just saying
those are so good.
I was addicted to.
So getting to be involved in a series was a real dream come true. It was really fun.
She needed to feel it. She needed to suffer, as I had.
When I listen to some of the tracks that you've made and composed for the show, they have a very eerie yet beautiful vibe to them.
Thank you.
Tell me what you did, or what put you in the place to be able to create those types of songs.
I think that first and foremost, I think the thing I try to do when I compose music for anything, for a film or, writing a song that's going to be in a film, is I try to just let myself react to the thing. So I think the first thing I'll do is sometimes I wrote some pieces of music after just reading the script, and I was just reacting to the feelings that the script made me feel. But a lot of the pieces of music, obviously, I wrote to picture, and I'd watch the scene. And the first version, I tried to always just be true to what I was feeling responding to that scene. So I'd watch a scene of Catherine and her husband, Robert, having this argument, and I would just literally sit there and I'd create a piece of music in not real time necessarily, because I'd watch the scene over and over to really digest it, but I would just create the music that was what I was feeling responding to it.
The world needs to know who Catherine Ravenscroft really is. The world needs to know the truth.
I will say some of the things that I read ended up being filmed so similarly to how I saw them in my mind that was so satisfying. There were things that I remember sort of thinking about and seeing in my head in the script, and then I would watch a chapter of this show and I'd be like, that's exactly how I saw that. It was such an amazing experience.
So what I'm hearing there, FINNEAS, is FINNEAS the director that's coming down the pipeline.
No, I'm no Alfonso Cuarón.
And something that's also intriguing to me is that you've always been honest about who you are and kind of who you are as a person and a writer, even as recently as posting about your political beliefs and commentaries and everything. So when you're selecting a project, whether it's a TV, film, music project, how important is it to you for it to represent how you feel personally or who you are as a person?
That's a good question. I think to me, it has the most to do with the person behind the project feeling like a person that I see eye to eye with. I think that's probably, at the end of the day, it's people in a room. This project, I worked with 2 primary collaborators on this, Aaron Forbes, who's been a music director of all of my live touring for many years, and David Campbell, who notated, I'd write a piece of music and he would actually write it out and make it readable by a string quartet, which was super exciting. And those are people in a room. I was in a room with these two people, and the conversations that we had were engaging and fun, and I thought they were smart guys, and they saved me many times over the course of this project. I might have had something that I had an idea, but I didn't know how to execute it, and they would help me execute it. Alfonso is a person that I have loved my conversations with. So I try to kind of just be a judge of character and a judge of personality, and then the work that we get into is a side effect of my personal relationship with them.
I love that honesty and that you're able to have those like real conversations.
Oh yeah, every time I work with any artist, it's like nobody has 100% batting average. You know what I mean? I think if I worked with an artist where they just thought everything I did was great, like I don't think everything I do is great. And if they thought everything I do is great, I would probably question how discerning they are. I'd be like, wow, really? Like you think all of this is great? So maybe that has to do with my own sort of self-critiquing or, being hard on myself. But I think in general, it's like everyone's an artist. Everyone has, taste and opinions, and that's why you sign up for the project. I could go make a thing alone, but I'm in a collaboration, and that's what's fun about it.
And I mean, another frequent collaborator of yours that I'm sure is honest with you, obviously your sister Billie.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And the reason that I think that's sort of chicken or the egg, like the reason that I think we're such effective collaborators is because we can be so blunt and honest with each other, because obviously we've known each other our whole lives. And I think the fact that we're blunt and honest with each other makes the music better. So I think it's true on both sides.
Well, that's why I was asking, has she heard the show or heard your music from the show or seen the episodes?
Yeah, I scored this show at the same time as I was making Hit Me Hard and Soft. And so the way that would work would be she'd come over for a recording session. She's a late sleeper, so she'd wake up late and come over at about 1 p.m. And I had been usually working on Disclaimer from the time I woke up until she got there. And so she'd walk in and I'd be like cooking up these crazy orchestral motifs for Disclaimer. And then I'd send those in and get feedback. And then Billie and I would work on Hit Me Hard and Soft all day. And then she'd leave usually around 7 or 8 p.m. and I'd go right back to Disclaimer. So it was a busy period, but really fun.
I have no idea how much your caffeine intake is, but that sounds
It's 1 cup of cold brew a day. I'm very regimented about it. If I have more than that, I feel like my heart's gonna explode. I feel like cold brew is heavy enough on the caffeine. More than that, I feel crazy.
That's amazing. And we're talking obviously about TV, but I want to talk to you just a little bit about film.
Sure.
And what was a moment that you saw a movie from your childhood or your past that you knew that you wanted to score at some point? For me, I think of like Jurassic Park and Harry Potter.
Oh, so yeah. Man, those are such amazing scores. I think that the score that made me want to score the most was probably The Social Network. I think I don't have a background in classical music, and so scores like Harry Potter or Jurassic Park, which are so amazing, I sort of had a feeling growing up of like, wow, I'd have to learn an entirely different language to learn how to score those films. And I remember seeing The Social Network and thinking like, that's like, I do that. I sit and make these modern sounds, so to speak. So I think that's probably the thing that inspired me. And then Disclaimer has been this amazing opportunity to learn that other language, to learn an orchestral language and learn how to compose music for orchestras and for string quartets. And it's been a really amazing learning experience.
And speaking of just being a fan, I have to ask you about one of my favorite projects of yours. My God. I am a four-townie for life. So I had to at least ask you about being involved in Turning Red and how that was for you and how you've seen fans take it and become a whole thing.
First of all, Billie and I making those songs as fans of, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys was such a fun experience. And really just such a unique opportunity. I don't think, I feel confident we would never have written those songs if we hadn't been asked to, And then I think the third chapter of it that really tickled me was I have some friends that have kids, and when the movie came out, they'd be like, oh, I watched Turning Red with my son or my daughter today, and we loved it. And then I'd see them like 3 months later, and they'd be like, my children have been playing Nobody Like You or You Know What's Up for 3 months straight. I've heard it every time I've gotten in the car. Like there was they'd grown to they'd grown to have deep hatred for me just by virtue of having to hear this song 600,000 times. But I was that way as a kid. Every time I got in the car, I wanted to hear, you know, this song or that song. So, yeah.
No, I'm incredible. It was incredible, man. And as a Fort
Thank you.
we're very appreciative.
That means a lot.
Yeah, we're excited about Disclaimer. So thank you so much for hanging out with Billboard.
Thanks for talking to me.
And continue being a great multi-hyphenate. Don't take that away from yourself.
Thanks so much.